do you know?
Because scientific research says it's not.
Wait, come here. Come on, don't let me lose you.
All right, so I talked to you about a couple months ago. You stayed in my head like crazy.
I think I remember you, bro, and I remember you too. How are you guys?
Your camera's closed. I just want to let you know.
Oh, good. You know what? That's so funny. I'm such an idiot.
So,
I checked the mic, all this crap, and I do, you know, whatever.
We haven't filled up that card with black film. All right,
a good 20 minutes, but luckily nobody's been talking to me.
In terms of what's called? In terms of have you seen water curve?
Yeah.
You ever seen the top of a glass where you fill it up too much and it curves over? Just saying, you have seen water curve yourself at the edge of a glass. You know when you fill it up a little too much, it folds over the top?
Yeah, not really, but it
You've
doesn't.
seen that though, no?
No, but it's not really curving in the middle. It's at the edges. There's a word. It's surface tension.
Yeah.
So the surface tension, and it's like the same as like if you see believe me, I'm not trying to. I don't want to be me, right? Nobody wants to be the guy who says that the Earth is flat when, you know.
When what?
When the way social, the way the world works socially is that you gotta get along. You know, you go along to get along, right? You go along with everything. Because if you don't, you're me. Yeah. So these are not things that, and that's one of the trip ups for as to why people can come to accept it, because they're really looking to protect their current beliefs when they're investigating this.
But the last time I saw you were holding up a water bottle, talking about how the water wasn't curved on the inside.
It's not.
But it absolutely is on the edges.
But I'm not talking the edges.
No, I know it's surface tension, but then you start cutting up the physics and shit, and it starts to get a lot more simple than have you ever seen water curve?
But all right, well then let's move to the next one. Let's get it.
Well, I mostly gotta hang out with my friends. So I did
all right, no problem. But you gotta get. If you can get water to stick to a ball spinning or rotating a ball, and get it to and then get rivers on that ball to travel.
The answer to that is mass equals gravity. So what do you say to that?
Well, have you proven gravity yourself? Do you know what gravity is, by the way? Remember you know what Neil deGrasse Tyson says about gravity, right?
No, I remember you said this, but that was one clip where a football goes past the goalpost and says, "Oh, must have been the Earth spinning or something."
Yeah. No. I'm referring to a different one. In another video, somebody says to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Why this guy though? This is one.
He seems to be the spokesman that a lot of people refer to.
But only the current modern man in the past 600 years.
But this applies to all physicists. If you ask a physicist, what is gravity? They will have to answer you, they do not know.
Yeah, and that's cool.
What it is.
Well, no, but that's cool. But you say the Earth's not round, but then you give me the answer and say it's flat.
Oh.
And that's where it's not science, where you have, instead of saying I don't know and admitting I don't know.
Oh, all right. Well, all right. I will say I don't know.
Right, you're forced to
I agree with you. I will say I don't know. How's that? The reason why
I say Earth is flat, just to
I have to have a if I say the Earth might be flat or this or like, it starts becoming. I need a simple message that will provoke people to think for a moment.
But the thing is, that's what science actually does. Is say, hey, we don't have the answers, but if you want to,
science doesn't do that.
But if you want to join in the search, then we're looking for more answers.
Right.
We're not sure, but we think.
But they are sure.
No, but they say this feeling is inertia.
Do they teach kids about the Big Bang in school? Do they teach kids?
No, but they say it's a theory. They say we're not sure, but it's a theory.
So why do they teach kids creationism in school?
No, but that's an unfounded theory. It has.
Wait. What is the difference between
provable experiments?
So they proved the Big Bang then?
No, but there's clues that say this is the best idea.
So there's a lot of clues that let me ask you this: if you look at the building standing behind you, how did it get there? How did that building get there? Did somebody build it? Was there a creator for that building? I'm just asking.
It's a team of people.
Right. It was created though, right? We know that building. Somebody built that building, right?
Yeah, you're taking.
Okay. All right, just follow me. It's just logic here. Now, has any man ever, in all of history, created something from absolutely nothing?
You're limiting that to man's creations? We've been around for, you know what I mean? Like we're.
Well, I'm just asking, has any man ever created anything from nothing? Something from nothing. In all of history, something from nothing.
The assumption that the Earth is flat.
No.
That's creating something. You mean material?
The assumption being that you say that there's there is some evidence for Big Bang, and I'll give it to you. Sure, there is some evidence, let's say, right? But you could also use that same logic and say there is some evidence for creationism. And I'm not pushing creationism, by the way.
Well, but the last time I encountered you, the thing that you're bringing up though is that you are a contrarian. And it's just to break people out of a certain.
No, No. I am naturally contrarian. Maybe that's why I was able to. Right, but that doesn't mean that. But that's not the reason why I came to. But that I believe that the Earth is not a ball.
The Earth is flat. You're trying to tell us don't always go along.
No, I'm trying to tell you the Earth is not a spinning ball. 100%.
Not a spinning ball, but not flat.
I believe it's flat. I believe, but it's a belief. There's a difference. Hey guys, let me ask you this. Do you know how fast it is they say we're spinning right now at the equator?
Miles per hour. 23,000? 23,000.
How fast? I know.
I have no idea. I'm telling you.
All right, so check this out. No, you're wrong. It's 1,000 miles an hour. It's okay. Yeah, all right, so check this out. But wait, let me play a tongue teaser. Let's do a little brain teaser for you while I got you here. They say that commercial aircraft travel at 500 miles an hour. Can you accept that's reasonable? Yeah, all right. So the Earth, they tell us, is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. If you were to get into an airplane and travel along the equator where it's traveling at 1,000 miles an hour, and you travel the same direction and you're in that plane and you're traveling 500 miles an hour, are you going to be making time, losing time, and why?
That's a lot of complex.
No, it's very simple. I'm in a plane. I'm flying 500 miles an hour, and the Earth beneath me is spinning at 1,000. No, I'm going in the same direction of the Earth's spin at 1,000 miles an hour. So Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. I'm in a plane cruising 500 miles an hour.
500 miles per hour.
No, you're traveling in the same direction of the spin.
So,
not to mention,
not
you're also
500. If the Earth wasn't moving, you'd be going 500 miles an hour.
But since the Earth is moving,
so you think
you'd be losing 500 miles per hour in the other direction.
Yeah, but hypothetically, it's the same thing if you're driving in a car. It's going 200 miles an hour.
Well, you're not. Are you attached to? You mean you're? Is the airplane attached to the Earth?
Yeah. Secondly, you know how I know you're not right? Because it's a fucking Saturday and you're holding a sign on the middle of the street like a psycho.
Okay, man. Thanks. Peace. All right. So check this out. I'll tell you the answer as to what they tell us.
That's how I know you're not right.
All right. I'll ignore you, man. Thank you, bro. All right. So here's what they tell us is what's happening.
Thank you.
The atmosphere above our heads is basically a cocoon, and those clouds up above you are spinning with the spin of the Earth. And so when you're in a plane, you're actually traveling within the cocoon, right? As the Earth spins, so are you. The problem with that, I think, is that if you were then to go in the opposite direction of Earth spin, now you got a problem, right? Because you should be accelerating how the time frames that it would take you to get to locations.
Matter in the air that would slow you down.
My point is.
What are you scoffing at me for? I'm just saying there's a lot of hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen going the other direction.
YouTube censors this information.
I need another one.
Here you go. YouTube censors it. Wait. Yeah.
Can you explain hydrology to me then?
No, I just want to listen. I keep it to stuff that I understand right now. If you want to look more into it, I beg you.
How does water stay on the Earth?
Okay, wait. Let me give you what I was just asking these gentlemen here, and you can help me here.
Yeah.
All right. They say commercial aircraft travel at 500 miles an hour approximately when they're cruising speed. Okay.
Yeah.
If, they tell us that the Earth supposedly spins 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, right?
Sure.
All right. If you were to travel in that aircraft above the equator in the same direction of Earth's spin, you're traveling 500 miles an hour while the Earth is spinning beneath you at 1,000 miles an hour. Are you going to be making time, losing time, or what is going to be happening and why? Do you know?
You're asking kind of like a nonsensical question.
Why is that nonsense?
There are like 1,000 factors you have to consider, like the climate, like the conditions of where people are flying. What's going on, like the wind speed.
Well, let me ask you, if you were to take off from a moving car, right?
Sure.
And the car's going 50 miles an hour, and you're going 150 miles an hour, what would you expect to happen?
If I'm taking off.
Yeah, you're on a car, on a plane, right? But then the plane takes off. Like let's consider the car as the Earth, right? That's the moving.
I don't know enough about it.
Right, but I'll tell you what they say the answer is, folks, before you leave, so you get it. They tell us that the Earth's atmosphere is actually attached to the Earth, and it's spinning with the Earth. This is what the science tells us. That those clouds above your head are spinning at over actually 1,000 miles an hour, because as you get further away from the center of that circle, it's going to be having to move faster. Somehow, the higher up you're going, the faster that atmosphere has to be moving, but that's what they tell us. So nobody has ever proven this. So we have to choose to believe it. Just like no man has ever created, are you ready? No man has ever created a pressure system to exist within a vacuum with no physical barrier between the two, which is exactly what space is, right? And what Earth is.
There is a physical barrier, though. You're not talking about, there's matter, there's particles, there are things that cause friction on the Earth.
So can this be recreated then by man?
I mean, honestly, yeah. Do you have the money for it, dude?
No, but has it?
Nobody does.
Wait.
Bye.
It's so funny. All right, check. sucker. Raise your hand if you trust the government.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
There's a principle, and that will leave a man in everlasting ignorance, and that principle is oh my gosh, I'm forgetting it. There's a principle that will leave a man in everlasting ignorance, I think it is a saying, and it says, condemnation before investigation. Condemnation before investigation will leave a man in everlasting. If you're so sure of what you know, then how the heck are you ever going to learn anything new, right?
What if I told you I've seen the curvature of the Earth?
I would be interested because so far I really have. How did you see it? How did you come to see it? Do you think?
Flown across the Atlantic Ocean.
At what height? At what height?
36,000 feet.
Man, I'll tell you, there's a lot of scientists out there who will say you're not seeing the curve. Anything under like 120,000 feet minimum. And people have on YouTube, which censors them, but YouTube, people have sent up weather balloons that have gone 115,000 feet, which is 20 miles.
See the curvature of the Earth up there.
There's not a single. It is freaking. I wouldn't lie to you.
Could you take the camera down?
Oh.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, when would you say you learned that you lived on a spinning ball? At what age?
At what age?
Yeah.
Well, it's fundamental human knowledge. I don't know exactly what age.
Probably, I would say, in somewhere around elementary school, right? Your 3rd, 4th grade, when you walk into school and there's 1,000 globes, right? Everywhere you go, there's a globe, right? And at that point in time, you know, you're basically having a belief system installed that I would say I would argue a person that age can't truly comprehend what it is that is necessary to take place for that ball to hold water, to spin at the same time, fly endlessly through space for the past billion years at 2.5 million miles an hour, and to really truly comprehend what it is that you have to accept, right? And so you get this belief system installed into us at a young age, and we really never question it again. It gets reinforced. It gets reinforced on television, in the movies, it gets reinforced by the government,
it's going to be
by
measured and
schools.
shown in a myriad of ways. A myriad of ways.
Well, you know, you just
You don't need to take it as an article of faith. It can be proven very easily.
All right, so let me check. So check this out. You just claimed that you saw the curvature, right, at 30-some thousand feet.
So the principle is that when you fly over the Atlantic Ocean,
right?
you fly from, let's say, New York City or Boston.
Right.
You fly up over the Canadian Maritimes and you cross the Atlantic
Right.
at Newfoundland and basically south of Greenland.
Yep.
The reason why you do that is because the Earth is curved. It's a sphere, and that is the closest distance between the points when you're crossing the.
All right. Well, listen.
There's
There's a ton of things that I used to, you know, I would have agreed with you only 2.5 years ago. I wouldn't be even contemplating having, you know, arguing the evidence, right? But at a certain point, I had seen enough of other lies that it opened up my possibility. When I first heard that people were claiming that the Earth was flat, I swear to you, my first words were, "What kind of idiot? What kind of idiot would say?"
I don't mean to insult you, but you should stick to that instinct. Stick to that instinct, because that's the correct.
But let me ask you. Remember, let's go back now to that saying. Condemnation before investigation will leave a man in everlasting ignorance. How much investigation have you done to disprove your own belief that you know was installed at you at an age when you were vulnerable to being told something? Because did you believe in Santa Claus and did you believe in the Easter Bunny when you were young?
So
I'm asking you.
As I said, you can prove that the Earth is.
No, but I'm just asking. How many people believed in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny when you were young? Raise your hand.
I did, for sure.
Right, and what age do we learn that they existed and that they were real? When we were very young, we were vulnerable. We were 4, 5, 6 years old, right? Well, raise your hand and tell me what age you learned that you lived on a spinning ball that flies endlessly through, hurtling through space at 2.5 million miles an hour. What age would you say?
I got this class in Princeton. Y'all feel.
I'm just asking a question, though. If you don't mind, I'm just asking a question. At what age do you think you learned? Probably about the same age you learned about the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, right?
These are local correlations.
You don't think so? When you go into elementary school, are there not globes everywhere? At age 4 and 5 and 6?
Yeah.
Right. And at age 4, 5, and 6, how many of you, raise your hands, understood the theory of general relativity? Raise your hands.
No.
You did at age 4.
Well, my father was head of applied math.
Wow, you were a really, really intelligent person. Either that or you're a liar, but one or the other. At age 4, you understood general relativity, huh?
At 6, I had a general idea, yeah.
And general relativity, has that been proven, or is that a theory?
I believe it's proven.
You believe it's proven?
Yes.
Are there's not a scientist out there who disagrees with general relativity?
Not a respectable one, no.
Not. Oh, so so now it's a respectable science. So are you the one who determines who's respectable and who is not?
No, I trust my father on that one.
Oh, so you trust the man? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, not the evidence.
I believe the evidence is pretty conclusive, yes.
Right. I'm pretty sure that general relativity is still considered a theory.
No, it's called a theory, but it's not.
Why don't they change that to the fact of general relativity then?
I don't know why they call it a theory.
Because it isn't
They
proven.
call it the theory of evolution, and we pretty much accept that as being fact.
We're asked. We're told. A lot of people. Can you tell me what gravity is?
Not really.
Right.
It's two bodies that.
Right. So do you believe in gravity then? Because you
yes.
really can't tell us what gravity is, right? So you have to believe in it.
Well, I think there's evidential proof of it that we all.
There's evidential
observational
proof. There is
proof.
evidential proof that Santa Claus exists.
Well,
there is.
Well, I guess that's good enough for me. Go Santa.
We get a picture.
Of course, man.
Yeah, cool. Let's get it.
And you guys look into this stuff at all? Because they really censor it bad on YouTube, so you can't really even look into it.
Hey, if it's not on YouTube, these guys don't even look. It's not. You guys sit.
Really? There's a lot of good information on it. You guys don't like? What do you like? TV?
Nope. I said they watch everything on YouTube.
Yeah. So yeah, YouTube over the last 2 years, they've basically censored the subject. You cannot bring up YouTube. My channel's been demonetized. My channel was closed down twice. And you know they call it hate speech if you bring up this. What I find interesting is that it's such a stupid idea. Why do you need YouTube to think for you? It's sad. It's a sad state when you need YouTube to defend the Ball Earth model. Here's some cards.
Yeah, get some cards.
I appreciate it, guy. I really do. And please look into it. There's a great saying. You ready for this, guys? Yep. I'll leave you with this. Condemnation before investigation will leave a man in everlasting ignorance. Do you understand that?
You got that, boys?
Cool. Have a good one, guys. I'm sorry?
What's your YouTube?
Zoom Truth. Two words. Zoom and then Truth. Hey, folks. All right, I have a good brain teaser for anybody who wants to play. They say Earth is spinning, right? They tell us that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, right? All right. Now, we know that commercial aircraft travel at 500 miles an hour. If you were to get into a commercial plane and you're traveling in the same direction at the equator as the 1,000 mile an hour spin, you're traveling at 500 miles an hour, the Earth beneath you is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Are you going to be making time, losing time, and why?
25,000?
No, the Earth is approximately 25,000 miles in circumference. We spin at 1,000 miles an hour, which will give you a 24-hour day, right? At 1,000 miles an hour, that gives you 24,000 miles an hour as a complete rotation of a day. They also tell us we're circling the sun at 66,000 miles an hour, while the sun is traveling through space at 500,000 miles an hour. Now, raise your hand if anybody here feels the slightest bit of movement. Anything. Well, I'm not, you know, it's not a joke. You can be on the stillest day, you could stack rocks that are so precarious, like you just have to breathe on them and they'll fall. Yet they tell us that we got all this movement going on, and yet there's no evidence, no physical evidence, nobody feels this, right? All right, so let me finish with the airplane story so you guys understand what that is that you have to believe, because this is what you have to believe. The atmosphere, they tell us, is actually attached to the Earth. And so those clouds above our heads are spinning with the Earth at 1,000 miles an hour, and that way, so that plane is in a cocoon. So as it's traveling, it gets to actually, it would be traveling just like when you're in a car, and if you throw an object in front, it's gonna, it'll go forward. But the problem with this theory, this idea, though, is that has anybody ever heard of the Coriolis effect? No. All right. The Coriolis effect is if the Earth is spinning and you take an object and you move it, let's say you throw it north, okay? The spin of the Earth is going to be lesser as you move north than it is at the equator, right? You're spinning 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. Here in New Jersey, we're spinning about 700 miles an hour or so. So the point being is that as you traverse that, the spin of the Earth beneath you is spinning at a different rate, right? And you're not connected to it supposedly, right? So even if this whole cocoon effect is still true, it would still, over distance, when you're bisecting that spin, you would still have an effect of movement taking place underneath you. Okay, but how come that doesn't happen with airplanes? It doesn't. If that were true, you could get into a helicopter or an airplane, hover, and you could reach your destination. It's the truth. Now, what they tell us is that they tell us that space is a vacuum, right? Isn't that what we've been told? All right. They tell us that Earth has a pressure system. Is that true too? Earth has a pressure system. Now, what I find interesting is that no man has ever recreated a pressure system existing within a vacuum without a physical barrier between the two. Because as soon as you put pressure into a vacuum, as soon as you have them next to each other, they're going to equalize like that immedially.
You don't have gravity.
We don't have gravity?
No, you don't have like, if you have like a tiny thing that it's
do you, now, when it comes to gravity, do you know what gravity is?
It's a force.
No, that's just telling you, that's just describing an action that it does. What is gravity? Well, I mean, honestly, if you ask, I just asked another person, and you can ask physicists, if you ask them what gravity is, they will tell you, honestly, we do not know. We do not know what gravity is.
Okay, well, that's separate from...
Well, no, the point being is that if you don't even know what gravity is, now you're using it to explain something that you believe in anyway.
Right.
You just believe that there is a pressure system that can exist within a vacuum.
Well, I have
Unless you've proven that yourself.
I have like evidence for
I
gravity.
can tell when
like,
people are putting me on that one.
In the same way,
Yeah.
you know, the air is attracted to the earth.
Right. Excuse me?
So the atmosphere is attracted to the earth, right?
Takey. I'm not asking anybody here to believe a word I'm saying. I just would like people to, you investigate this stuff on your own. It's a transition. Hold on one second. Guys, I'm actually starting with probably one of the wildest things. Let's start at one of the easiest things to show that we live in a world of lies. Does anybody here trust the government among the three of us? Raise your hand if you do.
You kind of lost me with the Holocaust.
Oh, I'm going to lose everybody with that. In fact, people are going to say that I'm an anti-Semite and I'm a horrible person, right? But I'm not. I have Jewish friends and, whatever. Call me what you will. I just let the evidence show me where it is and let the chips fall where they may, and then I open my mind and I try to find somebody who's willing to investigate it. Do you guys know there's a great saying? There's a principle that will leave a man in everlasting ignorance. And that principle is condemnation before investigation, right?
So can we investigate the atmosphere thing? Because I really think...
Well, no, that's okay. If you want to investigate on your own. I have a card and you can figure it out for yourself. And I don't need to explain everything. I'm here for the people who want to investigate on their own. There are not very many people. You look like you might be one. You look like you're wondering about things. Now, again, my question would be, raise your hand if you trust your government.
What do you think about Epstein?
Wait, let's get this one down.
I trust the government about some things.
You're the second person today who's raised their hand of everybody I've asked, so congratulations. You guys don't want to participate and raise your hands with them?
I don't trust the government.
All right, good for you. So now check this out. When I'm 46 years old, I basically believed everything I was taught until age about, I would say 38 or so. I mean, I always was wondering about voting and weird, like I had weird feeling about stuff. Why does this happen? Why is there war, right? Why is there freaking war? I don't hate Chinese people. I don't hate Russian people. Why are they talking about us killing each other, right? Nobody cares. Well, comes to, remember the World Trade Center? Does anybody here look into the World Trade Center ever?
All right, you lost me.
Wait, no.
Have a go.
Listen, but don't be. See, this is where you can't be afraid of things. Do you know that 3 buildings fell that day? 3 skyscrapers. There was a 47-story building. It's building 7 fell that day at free fall speed.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Peace. Any of you guys aware of that on 9/11? That 3 buildings fell that day. No.
Yeah, a plane went into it.
No. A plane went into the 3rd building. No, it didn't. Building 7 is a 47-story skyscraper that fell straight down at free fall speed about 6 hours after the other buildings fell. Huh. You guys want some info or no? No? Shit. Oh, I am so triggered. So, this is not doing me any favors. Holocaust gas chambers, Holocaust deprogramming course. Raise your hand if you trust your government. Please, I need another person. I'll make 2 today. Nobody? No takers? Thank God. All right.